Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. Now, the content that I'm going to show you today is all about something that's happening in New Mexico. Now, this is important because it has national implications. The Bruen decision is actually causing pause for Democrats around gun control because they don't want to lead the people on. There's a lot to this. This is very interesting. Something out of New Mexico. Again, everything will be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear from you guys on this one. And if you are new or you're a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure that notification bell is on. We need as many people in the fold to continue pushing forward the path of the Second Amendment so we can get it to the next generation. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration, and today's content is brought to you by SDI. And I know a lot of you out there like to upgrade and modify your own guns. And if you're looking to turn a hobby into a career, Sonoran Desert Institute can help. Their online programs cover everything from ballistics, woodworking and finishes, shooting sports management, and more. Plus, all the tools and materials are shipped directly to your door. There's never been a better time to turn that hobby into a career, so what are you waiting for? There's a link in the description box below. And thank you so much to SDI for sponsoring this week's content. But my brothers and sisters, we've got to get into this because on this channel, one of the most important pieces of what we focus on is not only what's going on in the moment, but also zooming out and seeing the entire trend and examining the whys of the gun controllers, seeing what they're doing and taking lessons in order for us to move forward to win in the end and pass the blessing on. This is a really good example of that because the Bruen decision is starting to get a lot more attention other than just wrecking existing laws. It's starting to prevent gun control. This medicine is working. Let's get it. How this Supreme Court ruling is already affecting gun reform in a blue state. Here's the part. The landmark decision isn't just overturning gun laws, it's stopping them from passing in the first place. Now, this is from the Huffington Post. The Huffington Post is way left. But listen to what they said. They're stopping them in the first place. That's incredibly important because we can fight in the court system all day long once they pass unconstitutional bills. Washington, Illinois, California, New York, New Jersey, Michigan that they're about to do. But when you look at what it's doing to prevent these, check this out. New Mexico's Senate Judiciary Committee gathered recently to figure out how much latitude they had to regulate guns after last year's bombshell Second Amendment ruling from the Supreme Court. Not talking about the Bruen decision, but this is important. The conservative side of the Democratic Party is saying, we don't just want to infringe because we want to infringe. We have to stay within our constitutional confines, but we still want to remain safe. That's what they're saying. The far left of the party is saying all guns all the time. That's the important piece here. They're starting to get a little bit of a rift, at least in New Mexico, around the intent. This is key because this is the fight as we go forward. New Mexico's legislative session last month opened with gun reform high on the agenda. After a string of politically motivated shootings at the homes of Democratic legislators in Albuquerque, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham called for a series of firearm restrictions, including an assault weapons ban in her State of the State speech in January. Now, this is important because the Judiciary Committee is chaired by a Democrat. The Democrats have full power in New Mexico. That's why this is an important piece to focus on. But let me get to the next part here. But with a week left to go before the session ends, lawmakers are cautiously approaching gun bills and are wary of passing laws that will run afoul of a Supreme Court that has taken a firm stance on the side of gun rights. The legislature is likely to pass some gun reform before the session ends, but lawmakers say an assault weapons ban would be unlikely to be held up in court. Take note, California, Illinois, Washington State, Michigan, take note. And they're uncertain about a proposal to raise the age of some types of firearms from 18 to 21, which is ironic because in Florida it was just upheld. But now you've got New Mexico saying, man, it might not be. We are all heading to a head at the court system. This is where we're going. But listen to the quote here because this says the entire thing. Quote, "What I hope we don't do is lead the public into believing we're doing something, knowing full well that what we're doing is unlikely to really have an effect." Joseph Cervantes, the state Senate Judiciary Committee chairman, said at the hearing last month, quote, "I think that's a disservice to the people." You understand what that is. That is a sitting chair for a state judiciary committee in New Mexico, Democrat, saying, well, I'm not going to put this forward and act like we're going to do something when it really has no outcome. and it will be a disservice to the people. If you take that exact same approach and apply it to all the different left states that are doing assault weapons ban, minimum age raises, you've got safe storage laws, you have all these different pieces that aren't going to do anything, but they're acting like they are and convincing the populace that they're going to do stuff, but they really don't. It's a disservice. That is massive. But let's keep going. The flagging reform push in New Mexico highlights how the Supreme Court decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen, which overturned a narrow provision of New York's concealed carry law, isn't just overturning gun restrictions that were already in place, it's also blocking them from passing in the first place. That is massive, because if you've got Bruen, and let's just call it a medicine, right? If you have a medical approach of Bruen and it's hitting the existing restrictions that are passed in gun law that need to be struck down, but it's also preventing anything in the future, that is how you win. You're preventing more from coming in. You're striking down the existing. We are going to pass this along. And that's while they are still pushing forward with assault weapons bans, which are going to end up at the SCOTUS eventually. Red flag laws, which will end up at the SCOTUS eventually. We are heading in the right path, and we are going to pass this to the next generation if we stay true to purpose. But one more thing, and this is something that should give you a nice little warm feeling when a gun controller decries something. Quote, "That Bruen ruling is going to hurt us for decades to come," said Miranda Viscoli, co-president of New Mexicans to Prevent Gun Violence. Quote, "It's going to be the excuse of every conservative Democrat who doesn't want to pass common sense gun laws." Understand what that is. Bruen is giving the conservative Democrats the justification to say these are unconstitutional, which gives them insulation from the progressive wing of their party. This is a lot bigger than what we initially thought. Everything will be linked in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next one.